academic buoyancy, I believe the term is correct.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so you made this differentiation between resilience and academic buoyancy, and I thought it was really kind of focused on helping individuals deal with the day-to-day challenges that show up, maybe the unexpected obstacles, and in a way to, I don't know if it ties back to emotion regulation, but I certainly know with a lot of my work with individuals coming from an acceptance commitment therapy theoretical approach, I'm always focused on how to overcome kind of experiential avoidance, so moving away from that discomfort that we're kind of hitting on here. And so I don't know if that ties back into emotional buoyancy, or sorry,
Hmm.
resilience,
Academic buoyancy.
academic
Yeah.
buoyancy here. But yeah, build on that for us. I thought it was very practical for day to day.
Yeah. So thank you for mentioning that. So yeah, I think so. The way that academic resilience is defined, it's defined in such a way as to cover experiences that are quite severe, experiences that may result in a student having to withdraw from school or ultimately withdraw from school. Quite severe experiences. But there are various experiences that students encounter in their academic lives which require adaptability in the face of adversity, but not something so severe where they might have to withdraw from school. The kind of more everyday challenges, the kind of setbacks and pressures that are part of the kind of ordinary course of everyday academic life. How do we account for those? Because it seems reasonable to describe those in terms of resilience in some ways. How do we account for those whilst maintaining a kind of a tight grip on what academic resilience is focusing on, which is the kind of the more severe experiences students might experience that may result in them becoming completely demotivated and be at risk of withdrawing from school, such as experiencing a severe failure in their work, which performing way below expectations, getting suspended from school for a period of time, and so on and so forth. Something that's less severe than those, like getting a grade below expectation on their work, maybe for a few weeks in a row, and becoming a bit demotivated or quite demotivated from that, having a bad term at school, and so on and so forth. How do we account for those kinds of things? Well, here they propose a related concept, which they call academic buoyancy, to map onto such experiences. They define this as the capacity to overcome setbacks, challenges, pressures, and difficulties that are part of everyday academic life. And so it's distinct from academic resilience in that academic resilience refers to the capacity to overcome significant adversity that threatens a student's educational development, whereas academic buoyancy refers to the more common and, by comparison, relatively insignificant level of adversity. Now, I think that's a very useful concept in education, but I think something we can learn from Andrew Martin and Herbert Marsh's research in this area is that this concept is something that I think we should use in everyday life to refer to experiences that we have that require a level of resilience, but not such a high level that we maybe call it something that requires resilience. Maybe we should just speak of being buoyant, being a buoyant person, developing the skill of buoyancy in the face of adversity, because the concept of resilience has been used so widely in recent years and it gets bandied around so much nowadays that we kind of have lost grip on it having a precise meaning or a precise set of things it applies to. There's so many articles on it and it's become of such great interest in recent years. And it is fascinating and it is extremely important, but I think that it's useful to distinguish it from, in terms of levels, and distinguish it from related skills. So, for example, there's a relationship between resilience and perseverance, a relationship to grit and so on. But maybe there's also levels of resilience. And maybe we could say that there's such a thing we call buoyancy, if you like, psychological buoyancy, which is this ability to adapt in the face of everyday challenges that we face, but they're not so severe as to be experiences of trauma, for example. Whereas resilience is that higher level character skill that enables us to adapt to the face of more severe challenges that we face in our lives. Going through a very difficult breakup, losing a job, going through trauma, which you might have in either of those cases, but other cases too. Whereas buoyancy would be responding to everyday challenges that are very difficult, but we typically often describe those in terms of resilience, and maybe we should distinguish between types. And I think there's something that they offer from that research, and that's well worth exploring.
If what you've heard on Flow Research Collective Radio has been helpful, please consider doing us a solid and leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you are listening to this. Reviews help us connect to a wider audience so we can get these peak performance principles out to more people.